Christmas is the time of year for parties, presents, and fun with friends and family. Christmas has special meaning for Patty Mason now, but as a child, she didn't understand the meaning of Christmas. Discontent, she couldn't wait to leave home and spread her wings. She took an exciting job as a travel agent.
I was looking for something in the travel. I was looking for something in the success.
But when Patty returned home from each of her exotic trips, the glamour of her lifestyle never seemed to be enough.
And I just thought that pursuing the things of this world, pursuing men, pursuing money, pursuing success, pursuing a career, pursuing family, that all these things were somehow going to validate me and fill that empty void.
Patty decided to settle down and start a family, thinking it was the missing piece to a fulfilling life. By the time she was 35, she had a husband, 3 kids, and a flourishing sales career. But the reality of her emptiness hit her at a company awards banquet.
I was on stage in Dallas, Texas, receiving an award, one of the highest levels of achievement in the company. And as I was standing on that stage, surrounded by all kinds of what I call hoopla, but there was all kinds of music, there was thunderous applause in the audience. It was a moment that should have been the peak of life. That was the moment it hit me, that success, family, travel, none of it was going to fill me, was going to give me what I was longing for.
Patty plunged into a deep depression.
A lot of times my children were very young then, and so I would put the girls in front of the TV and plop in a video. I'd put my son in his crib, and I would go and sleep off another dark day.
Patty started drinking. At first, it was just a glass of wine.
And once I began to realize that the alcohol took a little of the edge off of the sadness, then I began to drink a little bit more and a little earlier, until finally it got to a point where I started drinking maybe about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Patty hid her depression from her husband and friends. Alone and helpless, Patty began to have thoughts of suicide. In an act of final desperation, Patty cried out to God.
I'm not really sure what went off in my mind as to why I went to God. He wasn't a part of my life. He wasn't vital in my life. He was something, that I did on Sunday mornings when I was a child. And so for me, he was a last resort. I began to cry out to God. I said, "You've got to help me. You're the only one who can help me." Now I was asking him for a miracle.
1 week later, Patty saw an advertisement for a Christmas play. She wanted to take her children.
It was a 4-part play. They did with a lot of singing and the old Christmas carols and the newer contemporary Christmas music. I was enthralled. It was like I was seeing it all for the first time. In the last section, they did a reenactment of the birth of Jesus. But this time, there was something different. There was something special. It was like I was seeing it for the first time. At the end of the Christmas play, the senior pastor came forward and began to explain salvation. Now, this was foreign to me. Even though I grew up in church, I had never heard the plan of salvation. So what he was sharing with me was new, but it was also very wonderful, and I wanted it. I wanted to make Jesus a part of my life. So as the pastor prayed, I remember echoing his every word. I cried through the whole thing, but instead these were tears of joy. He changed my life in that moment.
Today, Patty has total freedom from her depression, and her family is closer than ever. She shares her story with women all over the country.
If you are searching for anything else to fill you, whether it's the things of this world, like money, success, career, you're pursuing things that you think are going to fill the emptiness in your life, you're only going to come up dissatisfied. The only pure joy, the only answer, the only hope is in Jesus Christ.